They're playing bowls now and again.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Indoor bowls.
Oh, right, yep. Where do you do that?
In the big hall.
Oh, yep, yep. Okay, I've got this running and I've got this running. So this is audio and this is the camera filming you.
Do you want me to, is that going now, is it?
Yeah. That's right. I'll start off asking you your full name.
Trevor Hinton Blaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your date of birth?
23rd of March 1917.
1917,
So I'm in 3 weeks' time I'll be 101.
Wow. Wow, I honestly didn't realise that.
Oh yes, I'm 101.
Wow, gosh. So you were born here in Tauranga? Greaton, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I bet it was a different place then.
It was all called Great Power in those days.
Oh yeah. And what was your service number?
28134.
Yep. And so you grew up here in Tauranga?
I was born here,
yep.
Born as Greaton.
And you went to school here?
Yes, yes. I was born in Tauranga and I'll die in Tauranga.
Right.
I hope to see my 101st birthday in 3 weeks' time.
Well, that's brilliant. So, what were you doing? I mean, you would have left school and were working by the time the war started, I guess? Or were you close to that?
Well, I was born at Greaton and my parents had the 5 children, who were all you can see them, and I was the youngest.
Yeah.
And we just struck, at the bad time, we struck a big depression. And we went right through the depression back in the 20s, and it finished about 35.
Right, yep.
And I've been here all the time. I've lived in Otamoto, I don't know if you know Tauranga or not.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes, I've lived in Otamoto right through the depression. Things were very hard.
What were you doing when the war began?
I was share milking actually.
Okay.
Share milking, yes. And I joined up straight away, but I didn't go straight to camp because then I was very annoyed about it because I hadn't. And then I went to talk to my boss and he said, "You won't be going." He said, "I've got you tied to the farm." He said, "We need you here."
Right.
I said, "Goodbye." Went over, but we were a bit disappointed because we went over to Fiji first of all for a while.
Yep.
They had the big sugar factory over there, and that was very important during the war. They were frightened the Japs were going to land and take it over, so they sent some of us over there for a while.
Right.
And then we went from there over to the desert.
Well, before you got to Fiji, where did you first join up? Where did you immediately go into the army?
I was doing a little job in Tipuki at the time. Yes. And I came over to Tauranga and joined up.
Okay. And did they put you into camp in Tauranga to train up, or?
No. I went from there to Narrawahia, Hopu camp.
Oh yes, yep. What are your memories of that place?
Quite good. We weren't there very long, and it was quite good. But they moved us on to Wai River, South Island.
Yep.
Yeah. So I never got over to the desert till 1941.
Okay, so you were in Fiji in 1940.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was it like there? Was that quite a good posting?
Well, I was expecting a raid any time, you know, we were prepared all the time.
Even though the Japanese weren't in the war yet, you still expected it?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And it was going very hard, but we enjoyed it, you know.
Yeah.
We had old gear from the First War, you know, same rifles they used in over in France and Germany and that.
Where were you living in Fiji? What was it like living there?
We were at Latoka first of all,
Oh, yep.
and then Suva.
Okay. And were you in tents or were you in barracks?
Barracks mostly. We were there during the big blow up. What do they call it? What did they call them again? You know, when they were storming rain and blow up. What do they call it?
The cyclone?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
It's like a big cyclone, yeah. We were in there, and our huts got blown down, and our Air Force we had got all blown to bits, and it was quite interesting.
So, what did you do during the cyclone? Did you have to...
They locked us in they locked us in huts which were chained down, ready for it.
Oh, right.
They could sleep on the huts there for that reason. And we were locked in there, couldn't get out. It was pretty quick. All the boats were getting washed up from the sea onto the land, and it was pretty rough.
Wow.
I've got a lot of pictures of it.
Oh, have you really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting we're talking about this because this big cyclone's on its way here for tomorrow, isn't it?
No.
It's a big one too.
Yes, yes, I've got a lot of pictures of the Air Force blown to pieces and,
oh, right. Oh,
and our huts lying on the ground.
Yeah, I'd love to see them later.
Yeah, I got a heap of photos here.
Oh, right.
There's a whole look at them there, and I've got a drawer full of them, and the books full of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were there 9 months.
9 months, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you go directly from there to the Middle East, or did you come back?
Yeah.
You didn't even come back
I came back to New Zealand, yeah.
Oh, you had some leave and...
Finally, I had 2 final leaves. Came back to New Zealand and then got on a boat here called the Johan van Oldenbarneveld. Went over to Egypt.
Okay. What was the trip like?
Very interesting. Called in Australia at Perth and went through the did a big route march into Perth. Yep. Tried us out a bit because our feet were a bit soft being on the boat all the time. And picked up a lot more boats one thing another, you know. Yep. Went over. Called in at Colombo.
That would have been interesting, wouldn't it, for Kiwis to go to a place like that?
It was interesting. It was interesting. Holy cows on the footpath, and you had to walk around them. If you happened to kick up on a cow, which we probably felt like doing, they'd fall on your knife in a bit, so you had to be a bit careful.
What was your draft called? Were you one of the reinforcement drafts, or?
Yeah, but when I got over there, I joined the 20th.
Yep.
20th, yeah.
But do you remember what number of the reinforcements you were?
The reinforcement was the 7th.
7th, okay.
7th. And we just got there for the November 41 push.
Right. So what were your initial thoughts on arriving in Egypt?
I don't know. I don't know if you realise that the Desert War wasn't a continuous thing. Yeah. This is what we call different pushes. You'd go in for maybe 100 tanks and all the infantry, fight till you're both exhausted, and then we'd go back into Cairo and they'd go back into Benghazi, Germans go back into Benghazi, and we'd have a break in the fighting. And we could look around, you know. I went all over the Holy Land while I was there.
All right.
Had a real good look around the Holy Land. I paddled in the Sea of Galilee where Jesus was meant to have caught the fishes on the sea and all the rest of it. And I was up the pyramids and in Baalbek and went to the oldest standing ruins in the world. And up the Nile and no, had a good look around. And very interesting, Cairo, very interesting.
Yeah.
Dirty as they name it, you know. But, no, we only had one idea, and that was to get up in the desert, up in the blue we used to call it, and we were quite happy up there.
So how much training did you do in the desert before you went up the blue?
Oh, quite a bit of training. It was mostly live training, live ammunition and stuff. You know.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, we had one or two casualties with it, but you know, you sort of expected that, Yeah.
So tell me about when you first went up to the lines then, when you went up to the front.
What about it?
Sort of the journey up there, were you nervous and what did you expect? And
no, we were keen to get up there. Actually, I got mixed up a bit in the 1941 push, and that was a disastrous one for the New Zealanders because we suffered a lot of casualties, and New Zealand Division didn't have its own armoured division. It just mostly just infantry and the different parts to go with it. It was very interesting because you never knew where you were. There's nothing up there except numbers meaning different places, you know. And it was pretty rough, you know. Had a lot of hand fighting, and you didn't know which way the Germans would come. One day they'd take you from this side, next day they'd be taking you from the other side. You didn't know where they were coming from. Wow. You didn't know where you were most of the time.
So was that in Italy? Not Italy. Was it in Egypt or was it in Libya? Or had you gone across the border?
No, Libya's up a bit, up a wee bit.
Oh, right.
Through the wire.
Yep.
Through the barbed wire. It's got a big barbed wire between. To get into there, you had to cut your way through the wire.
Right. So your first action was actually in Egypt itself?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes,
right.
Yes. And anyway, that was when the Aussies were holding Tobruk, and the Germans had been trying to get Tobruk as a port, you see.
Yep.
And they did everything to get the Aussies out, and they couldn't, but the Aussies had been there long enough, and we had enough of it. So we went up and we relieved them. They put South Africa down. The Aussies lasted there 9 months of attacking all the time. We got them out, and they put the South Africans in. The South Africans lasted 9 days. And the Germans took it.
Wow.
Yeah, at that time we were up in Syria. They took us up there for a spell.
Right.
And Syria was a lot of free French and that, you know. And we were up there and we got word. We were out of manoeuvres actually in the Syrian desert, and we got word that Tobruk had fallen. South Africa checked it in. Within an hour we were in the trucks heading for Egypt.
Right.
And we travelled, I think it was 2 days and a night non-stop to get there. I think we did about 2,000 miles in 2 days and a night. And we met the Germans coming. They had taken Tobruk, and all the gear which was there was enough gear for the whole army, you know. And the Germans took a lot, and they just started off all our gear and all our trucks and everything. And we met them up there at a place called Mersin. We went to WWII, and Firework said, well, it's no good sitting there waiting for him. He said, we'll go up and meet him. So we went up and we met him in a place called Minqar Qaim. You heard that place?
Yeah, I've heard it.
And we had a lot of fighting up there, but anyway, we got surrounded and had to break out at one part of it. And the big breakout in Minqar Qaim, that was very interesting. It's, I've actually got a book here of the breakout. Somebody wrote a book about it. It was very interesting. It was the biggest bayonet charge of the desert.
Right.
We had the 21st and the 19th Armored Brigade surrounding us. They had us completely surrounded, and they were going to come in the morning and take us off. We couldn't stop them. We'd run out of 25 pounds of ammunition. It was the only thing to stop the tanks. We'd run out of ammunition. We had nothing to rifles and bayonets. So, 2 o'clock in the morning, they said, we're going to break out. Which we did. And our trucks were luckily back. We left them back. And we were here and we had to break through the Germans to get to our trucks.
Yeah.
And then we got out on our trucks. They opened up on us again with the artillery. That's the picture right there.
Oh, yeah.
No, there. That's,
Yep, yep.
I was in one of those trucks inside.
Okay.
And so we got out there and came back to WWII, which El Alamein, you've heard of El Alamein,
Yep.
where the reinforcements were coming in from England and all other things, and more tanks and goodness knows what. We got in quite a bit of fighting there, and got into a place called WWII Ridge, and we were meant to take the ridge, and the British army was going to come in and consolidate, but they didn't come in, but the Germans did. So we lost a lot of prisoners, including myself. So that was a pretty rough fight. And I was taken prisoner there.
Okay. Who took you prisoner? Was it German?
Germans, yeah.
Germans, yeah. Wasn't.
No, there was no Japs. It was Itos and
Yeah.
German.
Because I've heard that the Italians treated the prisoners pretty badly. So. How did
yeah, they were very arrogant, sort of. Put an Ito on top, and he's a different man, you know. If he's not on top, he's a different man altogether.
Yeah.
But he's, in a way, he's better at guarding prisoners than the Germans, you know.
Yeah.
Very thorough, you know.
Okay.
Very thorough. Yeah.
So can I just take you back? Your first entry into battle on that first push, what was it like for you to experience that when you're being shot at for the first time? Was that pretty? I mean, what was the situation for a start? Were you?
Well, it was the first big push they put on.
Were you in the open?
Yeah, in the open, right?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep. And you're on foot, obviously.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And we got shot at. Got a lot killed, of course, but you know, you expected that. You wouldn't have knowing it was going to happen. So you're mostly too brother. Tired to be worrying about it much. Didn't get much sleep.
Yeah, but did you did the actual action seem similar to when you'd been doing the live fire and training? Did that prepare you well for action, or was it completely different?
Oh, I think you'd say it was different. We learned a bit. I was in the mounted rifles there.
Yeah.
And they thought that this war, when it came along, was going to be like the first war. Yeah. And you're going to go in with horses and in the desert and horses, and if you went to France anyway, you're going to get into a trench and fight there. And it was totally different. Yeah. Hitler had his blitzkrieg, you know, he'd go in maybe 100 blooming tanks and who'd have put in the middle of you. And that's why we were taking prisoners, because you can't fight tanks with rifles.
No. No. You said that the 25-pounder artillery had run out, but was there anti-tank guns, the smaller ones, or
Yes, we had anti-tank guns.
were they quite ineffective against the tanks? Or?
They were effective. We ran out of ammunition in them too.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So you were sort of too far forward from your supply line to get the ammunition through.
Oh, yes. Yes, we were well back. Yeah. And it was very interesting. I got all about it in that book there.
Yep.
One of the worst things I stuck there was when we were going out to Minqar Qaim in the convoy, and the trucks were all covered with camera, you know. So the jugger sitting on top, trying to tell us if the planes came, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he didn't let us know the planes came whipping in and shot us up. And I was sitting inside next to my mate, and I had a Bren gun on my knee, and I was sitting on top of a box of sticky bombs, which you plug on the tanks and they stick on the tanks, and up goes the tank if you can do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mate was sitting next to me, and he got his rubber head blown off. And I got his brains all over my face and all over my chest. My blood and brains all over. I couldn't see out of my blooming eyes. And one of the bullets went through the Bren gun I had on my knee, went through the gun. But if it had hit that box of sticky bombs, which was underneath me, there'd have been a hole bigger than this whole blooming building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So did you see much in the way of the enemy aircraft, the Luftwaffe? Were they...
Oh, Stukas, mostly Stukas and bombers. And, yeah. They bombed the hell out of us. That was very nasty. We didn't like the planes at all. The Stuka used to go up, and he didn't have the bomb release. He had it in a sort of a box underneath, like this,
yep,
open in the front. And to release them, he had to come along, and then he had to go vertical, and the bombs slid out. So he'd get up there and he'd be going along, and then all of a sudden, whoo, he'd come down, all hooters blowing, you know, and then the bombs would come down. We was lying in the trench and shoot at them, so coming down, you know. It's pretty hot at times.
Did you guys ever shoot any of them down?
It's hard to say. Some of them came down, you don't know, we were all shooting at them, you know, who hit them or who, I don't know, but I had a feeling I shot one down. It just later on before, we was at Ridge and we were going along in convoy, and these planes attacked us, and one dropped a bomb about by that window, and I was in the middle of the six fence. He dropped that down, and I went up in the middle of the air, came down, but I was shooting at him, and he came down.
Right.
So I thought, as I say, I wasn't down there once, but I had a feeling, and I might have hit him.
Was that with your Bren gun?
That was with a rifle at the time.
Right, okay.
At the time, yeah. I was a Bren gunner later on in the war. I was a bit of a marksman. They gave me the Bren gun to use.
Okay. Right. Did you like the Bren gun?
I did love the gun. I did like machine gun, I did like gun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about your platoon. What was the number of your platoon?
I was in A company of 20th Battalion, platoon number 7.
Okay, yeah. Who was your CO?
Oh, Kim Blaker was the big boy.
Yeah.
A wonderful soldier. And then our chap was I just forget his name, but I just forget his name now, but he was a hell of a great fighter too. Yeah. Oh, it was all very interesting, but the prisoner life was interesting too. I had 3 11 years as a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
So one of the books is all about prisoner of war life, and the other one is just my youth and the war experience.
I just remembered, I did actually, several years ago, I interviewed a guy who was in the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was taken prisoner at El Revised as well.
Yes.
And his name was...
It wasn't Charlie Upton.
No, it wasn't, but he was in the same platoon.
I was in the same battle as he was, and I saw him in his 2nd VC.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember that? Like, were you there? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was in the Minqar Qaim.
Oh, right, yeah.
He got it actually for 2 days. He got the first VC at Crete, and the second one at Minqar Qaim and the Right Side Ridge, the 2 combined. He didn't know he had it till he got home, actually.
Right.
Yeah. Great Jack Charlie. He's dead now, of course.
Yeah.
He was the only soldier with the 2 VCs. There were 2 doctors had it.
Yeah.
2 doctors had it, and he was the only infantryman.
Right, yeah, an actual fighting man sort of thing. Yeah. The chap that I interviewed was his nickname in the war was Fox.
Fox, yeah.
Trying to remember his last name.
Yeah, I know.
Ellison. Bill Ellison.
Yeah.
Yeah. You knew him.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Was he in your company or?
I don't think so. I've got, he's in a book I've got here, quite a bit about him.
Yep.
Yes, he was a good soldier too.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And he was a really good writer. He wrote a couple of books after the war.
Did he?
Yeah, but not specifically about the war, because what he did is when he got back to New Zealand after the war, because he ended up a prisoner and ended up in
he had quite
Poland.
an interesting prisoner of war life.
Yeah, yeah. But when he got back here, he couldn't settle when he
But he couldn't.
yeah, and he ended up throwing up his job, leaving his wife, and he basically walked from New Zealand back to visit all of his battle sites. He went back to Crete. Like, he walked across Australia, he walked across India.
Did he?
Yeah, and he did all this on about £100, and it took him, a year or something. And he wrote the whole book up. But he spent something like 6 months in Crete, living with a family there.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then he went back to Egypt, where he had an old flame there and caught up with her, but she was now married and stuff like that.
Oh.
And then he walked up through Europe, and he went across into the Soviet side of Poland, where he was a prisoner. And then he ended up, after that he went to France, and then he ended up in London, and he worked there for a few years. And then after that he wrote his book there.
Yeah.
And after that he decided to walk back, and he came back on another route. And and he wrote a second book after that. So, yeah, incredible man. And
he was an incredible chap.
Yeah.
He, yes, I was very interested in his book. Oh, you turned that off, I think.
No, it's just a you move forward. So, yeah. So, that's really interesting that you knew him. Did you know him during the war or only afterwards?
Only afterwards.
Yeah.
But I was up on the Russian front too, at one stage.
Oh, right.
I was right up all over Europe.
As a POW? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me about the moment when you got captured. What happened there?
Well, actually I got hit, and I went out on the German ambulance
Oh, right.
to a German hospital, and that's when I was a prisoner.
Right, okay.
Oh.